Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel. I promised a video showing a new washing alternative for resin prints, and I'll show you that here right at the end, but I just wanted to show you first real quick. This is the Elegoo Saturn II and the Elegoo Mercury 3.0 wash and cure station. And I printed a jointed doll figure that you can download on Thingiverse. I'll place a link for that in the video as well. I may provide a link for the STL supported version of it because it looks like all the supports actually stayed on the parts. And I have tried to print this doll before and it broke, so glad to see that all the parts succeeded. Alrighty guys, we're going to go ahead and take the build plate off. See if we can get these off the build plate without making too big of a mess. I'm going to go ahead and let the build plate drip a little bit. I don't know how well this will show up, but there's all the parts. Hopefully you can see how many there are. A lot of different parts on there. This is a very cool jointed doll for artistic work or just as a toy, but I've always wanted to print a jointed figure and have it just click together and actually function. Put that off of there. Try not to make too big of a mess here when I'm going back to the printer. And these parts are going to have a lot of cavities. See how well the camera zoomed in on them. Looks like it zoomed in pretty good. I'm going to move out of the way of the light here. I'm going to go ahead and take the top off the wash and cure. I'm just going to go grab the solution bucket. And just so you guys know, the air temperature is about 67 degrees. So it's not really ideal because the solution is a little bit cold, which means it's not going to clean as well as if the solution was warmed up. So if you live in a cold area or the air temperature in the area that you're printing is lower than 72 or 75, you may want to get a little warmer to warm up the fluid in your vat. Obviously not if it's alcohol because that would be flammable, but this is a non-flammable solution. So I'm going to place the solution onto the wash and cure. And we'll zoom over on the wash and cure in a second here. And you can see these parts are very covered in resin. This resin is quite thick, so let's go ahead and clean off my gloves. You can see how much resin is on the gloves. I'm just going to swish them around in the solution and see if I can get most of the resin to come off. Okay, so there you can see slight bubbles on the gloves, but they're pretty much clean. Not much resin except right here, maybe a little bit right here. And that's mainly due to the fact that the water is cold. So I'm just going to grab a paper towel real quick so I can dry my gloves off and reposition the camera. Okay, so we're just going to wash these for about I'm going to go 15 minutes. Normally 10 minutes is great, but I'm going to do 15 minutes because the water is so cold. The 15 minutes is up. I'm going to go ahead and open the wash and cure. Hopefully, despite our cold liquid, we got clean prints. Looks promising so far. I'm just going to go ahead and get the basket and rinse them a little bit better with the basket. See if I can't get any of the suds off of them. I'm going to go ahead and show you my gloves. Here's the glove that I've been using to take the parts out with. You can see there's just an ever so slightest bit of resin on the glove. And like I said, that's because the solution is cold. If the solution is warm, you won't have anything on your gloves. I could run them longer, but let's see how clean they are here. Okay guys, just kidding. I wanted to show you the parts a little bit closer up before I show you the cleaning solution. So here are some of the parts. This is the main torso. It's kind of upside down, but you can see here it goes like that. These are the shoulders. And once again, it's hard to see how clean these are because they're black, but they are very clean. Here's the pelvis. With the little click snap-in supports for the legs. And then a snap-in support up here for the torso. Here's one of the legs, the thighs, with I think a forearm or a shoulder, an upper arm. Kind of attached to the support there. This is the bottom part of the torso. Back of the back. Front here. I'm noticing there's a print line on this one. The print looks like it jumped, but that's nothing to do with the resin cleaner. Okay guys, and there you have it. There is your cleaner. I'm sure you're searching it up already, but it is a heavy-duty citrus degreaser made by Ecolab. And you can only find this at your local Home Depot. That's where I found it. I just tried it on a hunch because it says attacks grease, grime, and oil. And most of the things that take off oil and grime will take off resin, printer resin. Not all things, but most of the things. And this has, if you turn it around and look at the back, I'm going to go ahead and turn this around real quick. It does have a flammable warning on here because it has ethanol in it. I mentioned that earlier. Ingredients that are going to help this clean your prints is probably the ethanol and the limonene. And there is obviously detergents in there, which are some of them you can't read. But They do say detergents on 1 or 2 of the ingredients. But once again, there's the front. It is not flammable in the mixing ratio that I am using. It is flammable, however, in this ratio, which is concentrated. This is not a pre-dilute. So if you walk into your local Home Depot or you order it on HomeDepot.com, don't order the 32-ounce squirt bottle, because the 32-ounce squirt bottle is a pre-dilution. It's not a concentrate. You have to buy the gallon. And you'll notice here it says makes 32 gallons. That's at a concentration ratio of 1 ounce of degreasing cleaner to 32 ounces of water. So basically a liter or a quart, roughly, of water to 1 ounce of cleaning solution is what they say to use for general purpose cleaning. However, it does say to mix it stronger, or even to use it straight for strong cleaning. Now, I tried the 1 ounce per 32 ounces, roughly, or 1 ounce per liter ratio, and it does work, sort of, but it doesn't really get off all the resin. And you can test it by just, if you take a glove with resin on it, dip it in the solution, and just swish it around, and then rub your fingers and see how much resin came off. You can see that not all the resin comes off your glove. So I did double the formula, and I mixed it for 2 ounces of concentrate for every quart of water. So right now I have around 4 liters of water in the wash and cure bucket, and I don't remember exactly. That would come out to, I think I have about 4 liters, so that would be 8 ounces of concentrate to make that solution. And I have cleaned multiple prints, probably about 6 prints that were pretty big, or like this, that they had a lot of resin like left over on the parts. And I haven't had any problems with it cleaning afterwards. So all of the droplets of resin go to the bottom of the bucket. They do separate they separate from the water very well. They don't want to blend with the water. They turn into little tiny blobs, and they sink to the bottom of the container, which is a good thing because it doesn't get all over your hands or your parts when it stops moving. You can dispose of the leftover resin droplets very easily by just leaving it in the sunlight or exposing it to UV light for about, I don't know, a minute or 2. It doesn't take long, but that's it. That's your new resin cleaner. If you want something that's non-flammable when it's diluted, it's non-flammable when it's diluted into 2 ounces per liter, and you can use it in your wash and cure station to clean your parts for UV DLP resins quite effectively. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.